Welcome to the Sacramento Basketball Show, where each week we will chronicle the capital city's contribution to the greatest show on earth. Follow us, click like, and subscribe, share our posts as we take you on a journey through the lives, stories of the players, coaches, and teams that individually and collectively made Sacramento basketball the best in California. Welcome to the Sacramento Basketball Show. I'm your host, T.Sullivan, and today we're here with Coach Michael Gill from Laguna Creek High School, the men's boys basketball coach there at Laguna Creek. Thanks for coming in today.
Oh, hey, thank you for having me, Coach.
All right. Talk to me, Coach. You've been at Laguna Creek since 2014-15. What's it been like coaching at Laguna over the past 4 seasons?
Well, it's interesting. I feel like I've been there longer, and I have. So actually, my first year being involved with the basketball program there was the 2009-2010 season. I was an assistant with Paul Casey, and so that was really my first exposure of being at Laguna Creek High School and working with the program. It's the only program I really know in Elk Grove, or in the Sacramento County for that matter. And I was an assistant with Coach Casey for 2 years, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the students of Laguna Creek. I really enjoyed working with Paul Casey. The guy is he's just a great person. He's an experienced coach. He has a lot of history. Yeah. I had no idea who he was when I first met him, actually. And I just kind of knew from then, I was like, man, if I can ever have an opportunity to coach here, man, I'm not going to let that slip away. I want to be a basketball coach at this school. So when he retired, and I applied for that position in 2014, I was very happy that I got it.
Awesome.
And so now I'm entering my 5th season, and I couldn't be happier.
Okay, good. Tell me about, you mentioned Coach Casey. Tell me about Coach Casey and what he meant to you as a mentor, and as you've developed as a coach. What did Coach Casey, what was his role in that?
Well, I got to tell you how I first met him. It was really interesting because, I was coaching in Southern California. I coached for 8 years at Roland High School, and I was the head varsity coach for the girls program there, and I just finished my 4th season doing that. And so I move up to Stockton, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I may never coach again. This is crazy, or be a head varsity coach, because I know it's not easy to get these positions. So when I would sub in the district, I'd always go introduce myself to the athletic director and just say, hey, my name's Mike Gill. Just kind of verbalize my resume a little bit and let them know I'm interested to help. You don't need to pay me. I just need to get in. I can't let a season go by. So I'm at Laguna Creek, and I'm talking to the AD, who's Paul Casey. And he's giving me a little bit of the runaround. I was like, well, I know the varsity head coach, and I'll talk to him and see, what his staff looks like. And he kind of gives me this little bit of a runaround, like he wasn't going to show me his cards, and I had no idea. And then I mentioned, he kind of started asking me questions about me, and I mentioned that I played at Delta College, and I played for Brian Katz. And he was like, whoa, you played for Coach Katz? I'm like, yes, I did. And he was like, all right, I'm the head varsity basketball coach. And he was like, man, he gave me the binder, he gave me the practice schedule. He was like, man, I'll see you. So name dropping works apparently, and then dropping Coach Stamp.
That's how you got in?
That's how I got in. And but just as a mentor, I mean, he was great. He really showed me a lot of love. I mean, at the time I was substituting. I had 3 kids, single income family, and we'd go out and we'd be Rockland or wherever we go, and if we stopped anywhere, the guy was always buying me something to eat because, I wasn't getting a stipend or nothing. So he really took care of me. And I was like, man, this is like dad, in a sense. But I think one of the things that he really, the guy's even kill, man. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. And I noticed that. He always spoke to players in a nurturing, calm voice. He didn't curse kids out. He didn't act a fool. He just coached the game. And it was about developing relationships. That was something I took from him. And because I was like, man, if this guy's been doing this long, that must work. And then finally, he was big on switching screens. And that was something just from a skill set that I was like, wow, man, the guy taught me how to switch pretty much every screen there was. And I'm like, okay.
So you learned a lot from him.
Oh, absolutely.
As a coach. And then tell me more about, so you also played for Coach Katz.
Yeah.
Tell me about your playing days with Coach Katz. What was that like?
Well, so that was interesting. I kind of lucked out, really, to be honest. So my first year at Delta was Coach DeWitt's final season. And I think he might have been coaching there for, over a decade. I'm not too sure. But he was there for a while. And Coach Katz was at Lassen. And so he got the job, and I was kind of already on the team. So it wasn't like he recruited me or anything. He kind of just inherited me. But just through hard work and just through doing the basics. And I ended up getting a starting position. I'm starting at the time. It was the Golden Gate Conference, which was a no-joke conference. I thought it was one of the toughest ones in California. Diablo Valley, San Francisco City, San Jose City, Chabot, Yuba City. This is 92, 93, 94. And man, it was tough. We played some tough games. But one thing he told me because I never really understood why I was starting, and years later, we met, we were talking, and what he basically said is and it's something that stuck with me just as a coach. It was so many times people think coaches decide who's gonna play, and he said that's not how it goes. Players decide who are gonna play. And the way you did things, it just made it real obvious, man, this guy, you're playing. So, and I just wow, that makes sense, I guess you could run a program where you're deciding who's going to get all the times, but if you're really evaluating players and their productivity and are they doing things the right way, it's really up to the player if they're going to play or not.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Tell me a little bit about, so over the past 4 years, this will be your 5th season at Laguna Creek. Last year, you went from, I would say you guys struggled a little bit the first 3 years.
Yeah, we definitely struggled.
There you go. And last year, you guys went finished second in the Metro Conference, and then you ended up as the Coach of the Year in the Metro League. How did that whole thing develop into where you ended up?
Well, that's a long story, kind of. I coached. I've ran a program. I've been an assistant. Even after I did the 2 years with Paul Casey at Laguna Creek, I did 2 years at Lincoln High School of Stockton with Gary Greeno. So I've been on both sides. I've ran a program. I was an assistant coach. And I got the position at Laguna Creek really thinking I knew what's up. I know how to run a program. I know how to coach the game of basketball. I know how to make kids buy into what I'm selling. And it dawned on me, it was I didn't know as much as I thought I know, and that was crazy. And then I think this it's kind of like with anything in life, if you're not humble, things humble you. And so it's I think a lot of it had to just understanding with the type of players that really make things work. I don't know if you know about me, I'm a special ed teacher. I typically work with at-risk students. And typically the at-risk student kind of is yearning for the help, yearning for the supports to be successful and get their diploma and move on with their life. And in a little bit, I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna be the at-risk coach. I'm gonna help these at-risk athletes turn things around and figure it out. And what I slowly figured out that not all of them, but most of them, they didn't want to be helped. It was kind of no, this is how I get down. And
they wanted to do it their way.
They wanted to do it their way. And they thought they had a lot of choices on how it could be done and be successful. And what I learned is there aren't no choices to be successful. For the most part, you got to just do what is required. And there aren't no shortcuts. And so I kind of made a shift in regards to, of the type of player I want on this program and representing the school. And I kind of was you know what I felt like I was doing is I was not ignoring, but maybe not fueling guys and students who were really making the right decisions and doing everything that was being asked of them and doing it the right way and spending a lot of my energy and attention trying to develop ones who kind of already made their mind up on how they were going to do things. And I just really shifted it. And I said, you know what? I'm now going to start focusing on these kids that are doing things the right way. And if you want to be on board, this is what you need to do. Otherwise, you can't be a part of this program. And that was kind of, in my opinion, the residue and the momentum that was created that really allowed to have a successful season with last year's group. I just surrounded myself with quality kids that wanted to be coached, wanted to work hard, didn't want to take shortcuts. And I learned I'd rather lose with those guys than really, I mean, you're losing either way, you know, because if you're not doing it right, you're not going to get wins. So I'd rather lose with those guys that decided to do it the right way. But that's just it. We didn't lose. We won. We had one of the most successful seasons I had. I mean, we flipped the script. We went from being second to the bottom of league to finishing second in league.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's awesome. And then the Coach of the Year award, how'd that sit with you?
Well, you know, I mean, it's you're really nominated by the coaches in the Metro. I mean, we meet at the end of the year, and we all kind of just vote. I was flattered, but at the same time, it's the whole going back to the humility thing. You know, we had Earl Allen, who that year was the Sac-High coach, and they went undefeated. You know, they went 14-0, and they won league. And if you ask me, I mean, that would probably been who I'd have voted for. That's who I did vote for. Because I didn't vote for myself for Coach of the Year. But I think, you know, I think the coaches just wanted to recognize me turning around a program for the most part. But, you know, there was definitely, a lot of great coaches. So.
Well, it's good to have you here with us. I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for what you're doing over at Laguna Creek High School, representing Sacramento High School basketball in a positive way, and wish you guys the best of luck this season. All right?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right.
All right. That's the episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Sacramento Basketball Show. Come back next week. We'll have another guest. Not sure yet who it's going to be. Actually, I know who it's going to be, but it's a surprise. So come again to the Sacramento Basketball Show. I'm your host, Scott Silva. Tonight's guest, Coach Michael Gill, and keep shooting hoops.